Hey, Chris Valentin here. We're on chapter 10 and we're talking about a practical look at prosperity. And so today I want to just talk a little bit about some of the laws that we talked about, like the law of fulfilled expectation and McDonald's. I love that one the most because I ask our students all the time, like, why is McDonald's burgers famous? And they're like, it's the sauce, it's the French fries. And I'm like, hey, how many of you can make a better hamburger than McDonald's? And of course, most everybody raises their hand. I can. Well, how come you're not famous and rich? And so we talk about the fact that McDonald's is actually not famous for sauce and French fries and hamburgers. They're actually famous for a system. They systematized the way to actually, I was going to say build burgers. No, to cook burgers so that those burgers are the same all over the world. Morning, noon, and night in every country in the world, you go to McDonald's and they meet your expectations. They meet expectations day in and day out. And so really the law of fulfilled expectations, it's like your repetition becomes your reputation. And it's so one of the things I want to talk about practically is, can people count on you? Like, part of you growing you and you growing your prosperity is that people can actually count on you. Do you show up? Do you show up on time? Can you do it more than one day? Whatever task you're given, do you take it to completion? When people think of you, do they think of a responsible person? Do they think of somebody that they can give a task to and it's going to get done right the first time? Like, this is part of the practical ways of growing prosperity. McDonald's has made a fortune making, beat kind of burgers. Definitely not the best burger in the world, but just being consistent, doing it day in and day out every day. And so I want to ask you, what do you do? What is it that you do? And whatever it is you do, you're probably not making burgers every day, but what is it that you do? And are you consistent at it? And do you hang in there? The law of the neighborhood, I really like this one because it's a simple law that's been passed around for years. Don't buy the best home in a worse neighborhood. But really, that law of a neighborhood is bigger than actually buying a house, isn't it? It basically says, why don't I buy the best house in a worse neighborhood? Well, because then my prosperity, with reference to the house, is directly related to my neighbors. Like, the power for my house to be worth more money is taken away from me and it's relegated to my neighbors, because I could fix up my house, I could do more work to it, but my house, the value of my house is being held down by the fact that all of these other people don't have the income or the unction, whatever it is, to fix up their houses. So my point would be that same principle applies to other places of my life. When I become the best person let's say I'm the best basketball player on a really bad team. It's like, I can improve my skills, but the challenge is that the other four people on that team, if they don't improve their skills, we're relegated to a bad team. I think there's so much about there's so much about this principle that applies to so many areas of our life, in that I want to be on a team that actually has other people who are great. I want to be a part of something where the other people on that team want to win too. I want to be a part of a community that is striving for excellence, so that it's not just me over here on an island winning somewhere, but it's like, it takes a village, they say. And I want to be metaphorically in a village of people that have the same heart and same mind, who together we are prospering. And I think that the last thing I want to talk about in this chapter simply is about the law of risk. Somebody once said, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. But I'd also add, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing wrong, in the sense that I'm probably not going to get it right the first time. I'm probably, nobody walked without falling down. No one learned to walk without falling down. No one ever got on a bicycle and just rode off for the first time they ever rode. No one ever got on a pair of skates or a pair of skis and just got on the ice or got on the snow and just rode off into the sunset. There was falling down, there was growing, there was learning. And so I want to challenge you also in this chapter. It's really important. It's like you see all these people doing amazing things. You're like, I could never do that. Well, the truth is they couldn't do it either when they started. And so the law of risk is really important. It's really important that we put ourselves out there and that we learn to fail successfully. Failing successfully means that every time I fall down, metaphorically again, I get better when I stand up. I got on skis on the snow and I went 100 yards and fell down. Well, the next time I went 200 yards. The next time I skied all the way down the hill. And the point is that I improved my skill. I failed, but I succeeded in learning something I didn't know. And so that's failing successfully. I really want to challenge you. There's so many really good practical points in this chapter. I added this chapter real late in the book because I'm like, well, there could be 500 of these little practical things, but I wanted to get it in people's minds that there really are practical ways that people prosper. And we look at people that are wealthy and it's like, most people didn't just fall out of the air or, some people inherited it, but most people, like, they actually found a niche like the McDonald's team, Ray Kroc, who figured out a way to be consistent. We wouldn't call that like, well, this big formula for prosperity, but it was. A really simple principle of making burgers and fries consistently, day in and day out, the same way. Systematizing the making of burgers actually was his path to wealth. Sometimes what you're doing today, you may be watching this and you're like, man, I don't know where I'm going. But are you learning something that you do consistently, that you actually over time, like remember, life is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Are you getting better at it? Are you improving at it? Are you increasing your capacity? Are you being more successful than you were yesterday? Not more successful than John or Mary down the street, but more successful than you were yesterday. This is the path of prosperity. And I really want to encourage you in that. I'm looking forward to the next chapter when we talk in another week, mastering motivation. But this chapter is full of nuggets, and I hope that you take some of them and find some new ones yourself and really grow your prosperity. God bless you.